Good evening, you all. It is February 26th, and Fry is coming back into frame, which usually helps. Now you can see his hind end. We have all the Newsy news, which is always good, good, good. I hope everyone had a good Monday, or at least a survivable Monday. Look, some Mondays are just Mondays. But we do have an update in a story that I did last week. So the woman who ran over, ran into, or otherwise hit two young brothers while speeding through a residential neighborhood was convicted of murder. So apparently, affluenza did not help this woman, which, correct, yes. The California woman who fatally struck two young boys with her car as she sped through a residential neighborhood has been convicted of murder and other charges in the deaths. Rebecca Grossman, 60, the co founder of Grossman Burn Foundation, was convicted of 2 counts each of second degree murder and vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence, and 1 count of hit and run resulting in death in the killing of Jacobs Iskander, 8, and Mark Iskander, 11. She faces up to 34 years to life in state prison when she is sentenced on April 10th. So I am glad that, the jury saw through the shenanigans she was trying to pull, like, "No, it was really my boyfriend. There's no grill damage on my car." I mean, just of all the pathetic things. Look, if you do something this wrong, take responsibility. You're still going to be a douche. You're still gonna be someone who drunk drive and then sped down residential roads, but you at least have the one little bit of shred of dignity that says, "Hey, I'm an okay person. Good evening, Phoenix Fire." Friberto, I said, "No. You can get down for 5 seconds. Thank you." She faces okay, sorry. Their mother, Nancy Iskander, told the reporters after the verdicts that attending the court proceedings, quote, "felt like I'm attending a funeral of the boys again, day after day," the Associated Press reported. Someone is now held accountable. Mark and Jacob did not die. Mark and Jacob were murdered. In a statement, the district attorney's office commended the jury for its ruling, the AP said. Quote, "This decision underscores our commitment to holding accountable those who drive with total disregard for human life," the statement said. "We know that this guilty verdict can never replace their lives, but we hope it may provide some peace for the Iskander family as they continue a lifelong journey of grieving." Let's be honest, there will be some measure of healing, but it's going to be a lifelong sentence of grieving for this family. They lost two little boys. Outside the court after the verdict, Grossman's lead attorney, Tony Busby, said the outcome was unexpected and he would appeal, saying, quote, "There's a lot of errors in the case." City News Service reported, as Law and Crime previously reported, the two brothers were murdered when Grossman hit them with her car as they crossed the street at a marked crosswalk at their Westlake Village neighborhood on September 29th, 2020. Westlake Village is a Los Angeles area city in the San Fernando Valley, about 35 miles northwest of downtown LA. At the time, Grossman said she was allegedly engaging in a, quote, "high speed game of chicken." For the love of all that is holy. Good evening, Flash Fan 85. I am doing okay today, an atheist, and good evening. I hope everyone is having a Monday that was either good or survivable. Uh, She was doing this with former Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher, Scott Erickson, when she reached speeds of over 80 miles an hour in a residential. Well, she's an heiress. 80 miles an hour, more than twice the legal speed limit of 45 miles per hour. She allegedly kept driving after striking the children, only coming to a stop a quarter-mile away because her engine cut off, authorities said. It was initially reported that she carried one of the boys on the hood of her car more than 100 feet, and then, after hitting the brakes, ran over him as she left the scene. At a preliminary hearing, a sheriff's deputy testified that Mark was thrown 251 feet. Oh. Interesting. I was, finishing up the Groves trial, so or at least catching up on it, so I did not see the Rust spiciness. I'll have to look that up. Jurors convicted Grossman on Friday after 2 days of deliberation. The case went to a jury in Van Nuys, California on Thursday after 6 weeks of trial. In court, as the verdicts were being read, Grossman's daughter Alexis repeatedly said, "Oh my God," as her teenage brother shook after the verdict. Uh, CNS reported sheriff's deputies stopped them as they tried to move toward their mother after she was handcuffed. "I love you," the daughter repeated, the wire service reported. Grossman's high profile attorney, Busby, defended Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton in his impeachment trial for alleged corruption. According to the Los Angeles Times, Busby represented defense experts who testified that Grossman was traveling 52 miles per hour and argued that Erickson, who drove his black SUV through the crosswalk before Grossman, was the first one to strike at least one of the boys. Prosecutors argued that Grossman had cocktails with Erickson before racing him along the road where the fatal crash ultimately occurred. Deputy District Attorney Jamie Castro said that Grossman knew her actions could be deadly. Quote, "She had a history of speeding. She texted about it," Castro said. According to the LA Times, she acted with disregard for human life. Grossman is the wife of Peter Grossman, a plastic surgeon and co-founder of the nonprofit Grossman Burn Foundation, which, according to its website, aims to, quote, "promote effective, sustainable partnership solutions for comprehensive treatment care and support of burn survivors and their families in the United States and around the world." Well, your husband doesn't seem like a dingus, but you and your boyfriend are. Also, how are you still married when you have a boyfriend asking for a friend? No, I'm just kidding. There were none. She hit 2 kids. Uh, Atheist aunt, the victim's mom was rather forgiving in her post-trial comments, expressed concern for the perp's kid. Respect for that mom for sure. Absolute respect, because I don't know if I would launch myself allegedly, full on tackle, maybe holding some airtime. I'm just saying. I Y'all, this story is all over the place, and generally I don't touch on this, but what the actual hell? US Air Force member who set himself on fire at Israeli embassy in shocking scene while yelling, quote, "Free Palestine," is identified. A member of the US Air Force is in critical condition. I believe he may have passed away. Uh, Member of the Air Force is in critical condition after self-immolating outside the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. Sunday afternoon. A video live streamed on Twitch appears to show the airman in a uniform stand in front of the embassy gate, identifying himself as a member of the U.S. Air Force, the New York Times and Washington Post reported. Quote, "I will no longer be complicit in genocide. I am about to engage in an extreme act of protest," the man apparently says before lighting himself on fire and repeatedly shouting, "Free Palestine." What in the actual heck is wrong with people? I mean, you can feel however you want about the Mesopotamia. I'm not gonna tell you how to feel about that one, but maybe don't self-immolate. The man says his name is Aaron Burnshell at the start of the clip, or sorry, Bushnell at the start of the clip. According to footage circulating online, a spokesperson for the Air Force confirmed that the protester is an active duty airman, though they would not discuss his identity or rank. Authorities at the scene can be heard asking, "May I help you, sir?" and yelling at the man to get down on the ground when he was on fire, the footage shows. One person sprayed the man with a fire extinguisher, while the other appeared to draw his gun. The troubling footage was quickly removed on Sunday afternoon because it violated the streaming app's guideline, but recordings of it, some blurred, made their way onto social media platforms. First responders were dispatched to the scene at 1 p.m. A spokesperson from DC Fire and EMS confirmed to the Post. By the time first responders arrived, the flames had already been extinguished by a member of the U.S. Secret Service, the fire service added. The man was transported to a local hospital with life-threatening injuries. The Israeli embassy did not immediately respond to the Post request for comment on the incident. No embassy staff were injured during the fire, the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs said, according to GLZ radio. I y'all well, fair, it is Twitch, so if he just had body paint on, maybe sitting in a bathtub of his own, like, body water, it would be fine. In other news, if you need to go to pack somewhere and you like to overpack, if you have a 150-ton hydraulic press, you may be able to get all of your and your wife's outfits in one single suitcase. Uh, Quote, "You think you're an overpacker? Get a load of these two." Finnish content creators, Lori oh, these are look, where is Fedorowski when you need him? And Hannah something else comically compressed a massive mound of travel items into a single carry-on suitcase with the help of a 150-ton hydraulic press with room to spare. The dynamic duo shared their feat in an 8-minute video on their popular hydraulic press channel, a YouTube destination that has racked up tens of millions of views by enthusiastically and ridiculously squashing everyday items like Reese's peanut butter cups, crayons and markers, a head of cabbage, bars of soap, and a Furby toy, much more. Okay. So there you go. You can just crush your clothes. For their latest endeavor, which has topped more than 82,000 views since it was released last month, they wanted to, quote, "explore the limits of packing efficiency and the strength of a suitcase," according to the video's description, by overpacking a week's worth of items into a solitary piece of luggage. The video, clocking in at 8 minutes, features Give me the No, don't go full French. No, not full French. Come on now. You just don't get hangers. Don't surrender. Uh, and dozens of packables into portable disc shapes, with the entire exercise taking about a half an hour, one of the content creators said. I don't know Finnish. I'm just saying, y'all. Along with the items crushed down to packing size, a jaunty gray fedora hat, a large jacket, numerous socks and shirts, which were declared surprisingly easy to compress, along with an assortment of curious and ultimately doomed items like a hair dryer, a can of Pringles chips, and a flashlight. When they were done, the travelers still had room for miscellaneous electrical devices that they deemed non-crush worthy. Well, there you go. Uh, One of the content creators was especially amused by the machine's expertise in reducing a jacket to a thick disc. "I think it's going to be pretty straightforward to unfold," he declared with a laugh. "Just a quick ironing and it's brand new. Although it seems clear their hotel room iron is destined for quite a lot of work." Hundreds of commenters marveled at the very clever spectacle, with one viewer calling it a whole new level of hilarity and awesomeness, while several others offered a helpful tip that could help immerse the clothes in warm water to unfurl them upon arrival. Good evening, Jude and Mimsy. One person, meanwhile, was curious how the Transportation Security Administration might react, saying, quote, "I would like to see airport security go through at looking for contraband." Not that the duo is actually recommending the cheeky packing solution, as they offer this disclaimer in the video's description: "Do not try this at home or anywhere else." Uh, Looks like you will have to shell out extra bucks for increasing sky-high fees to check your bags after all. Well, unless you have a hydraulic press. I'm just saying, I would try it if I had one, but that's just me. In a story that we didn't cover a lot of, but apparently, there is, new information coming out of, mother lied about own whereabouts as authorities searched for her missing 3-year-old son, prosecutor states. As Wisconsin authorities search for missing 3-year-old Elijah Vu, scrutiny falls on his mother and caretaker. Both adults are locked up in the Manitowoc County Jail, respectively, on a case for party to child neglect and child neglect. Authorities are largely keeping mum about it all, but prosecutor on Friday reportedly said that the mother, Katrina Baer, 31, lied about her own whereabouts during the investigation. The co-defendant, Jesse Vang, 39, is charged because Baer put Elijah in his care, so it was also his responsibility to make sure the boy was all right. Quote, "She intentionally sent that child for disciplinary reasons for more than a week to a residence," Manitowoc District Attorney Jacqueline LeBray according to Green Bay Fox affiliate WLUK, quote, "She was aware of the tactics used and the lack of care provided. This was an intentional thing by her, and on at least 2 occasions during the interview, she has provided false information on her whereabouts during the past week." Bear's bond was set at $15,000, while Vang is being held on $2,000, or I'm sorry, 20,000. So 15,000 and 20,000. There remains an ongoing Wisconsin Amber Alert for Elijah. Police in the city of Two Rivers said Tuesday that he was last seen that day at around 8 a.m. on the 3900 block of Michaud Street. Qu Quote, "Caregivers last saw Elijah at 8 a.m. at their residence," state authorities wrote on the Amber Alert without naming the caregiver. No family or associates were in the area. Authorities describe View as being Hmong and white ethnicity with dark brown hair and brown eyes. The Amber Alert used the word sandy to describe his hair. The Amber Alert describes Elijah as standing 3 feet and weighing 45 pounds. He has a birthmark on his left knee. Quote, "He was last seen wearing gray pants, a long dark shirt, red and green dinosaur shoes," police wrote. "It is possible he's carrying a red and white plaid blanket as pictured." Officers recommend that people can search for unusual items on their property and review their surveillance footage from February 12th to February 20th. They did not explain the reason behind the time span. Also from the cops, here are some things you can do to assist even if outside Two Rivers. Check anywhere a small child would hide, climb, or fall. Check your own property for any items that don't belong to you, which could include anything from Elijah, the red, white, and black plaid blanket, or dinosaur printed shoes. Check your surveillance systems from February 12th through the 20th. We usually look back several days from the report to ensure we are thorough. Look for anyone matching Elijah's description on your surveillance footage. You can also search public land for the aforementioned items or anything you feel relevant to this investigation. I really hope that this little boy is found fine. I sort of get a very sinking feeling when the parent and caregiver are taken into custody, even if it's unrelated. Generally, that's because one or the other they're very close to getting found. I just found out as being or having a part in the disappearance rather than this child being missing. So I hope that that is not the case. I hope I am just being a little bit black pilled and they find this precious little boy okay. I think, Lord, we need a bit of a miracle right now. So if you could possibly see it fit to, you know, let this child be okay and let him be found by a loving, wonderful family. I'm just saying that would be nice for a change. Sure, Jan. I thought it was sugar. A Florida woman caught tainting live-in boyfriend's tea with a bleach tablet from under the kitchen sink after the victim took a large gulp, cops say. Look, this is not 9 to 5. You did not mix up the skinny and sweet with rat stuff. You know what I'm saying? Someone was having a whole lot of a Dolly weekend and thought, I can get away with it too. A Miami, Florida woman allegedly placed a bleach tablet in her boyfriend's tea last Tuesday evening, only to exclaim, I thought it was sugar, after the man took a large gulp and immediately felt his throat burning. Yvette Diaz, 49, is accused of tainting the unsuspected victim's tea. How could you not smell? Okay, so I use the bleach tablets to clean because you basically don't have to buy an entire thing of liquid bleach. You can just put it in, a spray bottle as a tablet, and it kind of effervesces and makes an entire thing of bleach. And I learned this trick during the illness that shall not be named. And welcome, JKD Buck. But it still smells strongly of bleach. So if she put a whole daggone tablet in there, unless he has no sense of smell, I have no idea. Uh, let's see. While her live-in boyfriend of 3 years was outside on the phone with his employer, according to arrest report by Miami-Dade Police Department. Documents said that the man made tea and a tortilla meal after 5 p.m. on February 20th, but stepped out for the work-related call while Diaz remained inside the residence by herself. When the victim returned, cops said he offered Diaz a bite of the spicy tortilla to eat, then some tea to drink, but Diaz allegedly adamantly refused to drink the tea, leading investigators to suspect that she might have known that the tea wasn't safe to drink. Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to be a better criminal or actress. Quote, when she exclaimed how spicy it was, he offered her his cup of tea, which she adamantly declined. The victim then took a large gulp from his tea and his throat started to immediately burn. The victim then noticed a strong smell of bleach emanating from his cup. The victim immediately poured the drink in the sink, at which time he saw the remnants of a concentrated bleach tablet that he uses for dissolving into 5 gallons of water in his cup, the arrest report said. The victim turned to the defendant and stated, there's bleach in this drink. Did you put bleach in my drink? Though the defendant allegedly replied that she thought the bleach tablet was sugar, police suggested that it could not have been an innocent mistake based on where the sugar and the bleach were located in the kitchen. Well, unless you keep your bleach and sugar right next to each other. Still, this is a tablet that smells like bleach, and this is sugar. Quote, it should be noted that sugar powder firm is kept in the upper kitchen cabinet while the concentrated chlorine tablet forms are kept under the kitchen sink. Yeah, no. Good evening, Aaron Olivia. Cops said that Diaz asked for a lawyer after she was initially taken into custody. No details were provided about the suspected motive in the case. She's just evil. I mean, that's not a motive, but I'm just throwing it out there. A customer was charged $1,000 for a Subway sandwich and can't afford groceries and still hasn't gotten a refund. Look, this is not the foot-long I was promised. A woman was charged more than $1,000 for a Subway sandwich, leaving her cash-strapped and struggling to afford groceries, and she still hasn't gotten a refund from the sandwich chain. Uh, Letitia Bishop visited a Subway located in Thornton's gas station in Columbus, Ohio last month, where she ordered 3 sandwiches for herself and her family. Bishop's debit card was charged a staggering $1,021.50 for the order, including $1,010 for a single sandwich. Yeah, but think about the sale you got on the other sandwiches. They were only $11. Ugh. The standard price of a footlong sandwich is between $6.50 and $12. After picking up her sandwiches and leaving the Ohio subway location, Bishop noticed the hefty charge, according to ABC6, and went back to the establishment to address the staff, who said she needed to contact Subway's corporate office. However, there is no number that leads to a live person, Bishop told the outlet, noting that in the nearly 2 months since she was ripped off by the company, she hasn't been able to get a hold of anyone who can help. Bishop, who has also attempted to raise the issue with her bank, but to no avail. It wasn't immediately clear which bank Bishop's debit card is affiliated with. I'm just trying to make ends meet at this point, Bishop told ABC6. She said she's been stressed and overwhelmed by the charge. I couldn't get groceries at one point because my account was negative, Bishop added, according to ABC6. Okay. It was the extra provolone cheese, wasn't it? Bishop also stated that she later returned to the Subway store only to realize it had shuttered. According to the Subway's website, the Thornton Oil location in question at the 4600 block of Winchester Pike is temporarily closed. Representatives for Subway did not immediately respond to the post request for comment. Lanigan, the director of consumer relations and investigations at the Better Business Bureau, assured that Bishop has other options. Lanigan said that the superfluous charge could be considered theft, meaning Bishop could file a police report. Quote, she could take that right to her bank and say, here's my receipt. That's where you gave them $1,000. If you can't make this right for me, I'm willing to file a fraud affidavit, Lanigan told ABC6. Quote, another route she can use is resources that we have here at the Better Business Bureau, our dispute resolution process. She could file a complaint with the Cromwell, Connecticut, but she's in Ohio. Cromwell, Connecticut Business Bureau, where the Subway is an accredited business. They will pledge to respond to any complaints brought to their attention, she added. Lanigan noted the best way to shop is with a credit card, which offers better protections on purchases and in these instances. Yeah, Nunya, you don't say. Update, things aren't looking good for Fani, according to X. My shock. Squabob, my husband will buy shiny rocks. Yes, he will. So, he is the one person that will buy rocks. So, usually I do funny stories, but I thought that this was kind of important to cover because our first responders, apparently aren't getting any help with mental health down at the border, and it really is quite heartbreaking for them to have to go day in and day out and help people that maybe haven't survived passing the Rio Grande. And regardless of however you sort of fall on this, I think that sometimes we don't really appreciate how much these first responders, like firefighters and people that have to go to the scene of crimes, and wrecks and accidents, I mean, how much they have to see. Eagle Pass, Texas, the crisis unfolding at the US-Mexico border since last year has spilled over into fire engines and ambulance of the small town. First responders in Eagle Pass say they are overwhelmed and increasingly traumatized by what they see. Parents drowned or passing away, and children barely holding on to life after attempting to cross the Rio Grande. The emotional strain on the firefighters and EMTs has grown so great that city officials have applied for a state grant that would bring in additional mental health resources for frontline workers. Quote, "This is an unprecedented crisis," the Eagle Pass Fire Chief Manuel Mello said. "It's nothing close to what I experienced while I was on the line. This is a whole different monster." Firefighters say the first calls for help usually blare through the three stations in Eagle Pass while crews are sipping their morning coffee, bracing themselves for what the day will bring. Parents with young children might be near drowning or trapped on islands somewhere between the United States and Mexico, surrounded by fierce currents of the Rio Grande. Some shifts, firefighters with the Eagle Pass Fire Department can spend 3 to 5 hours in the water helping rescue people crossing the river or recovering drowned bodies. Quote, "It's something like we've never gone through before," said Eagle Pass native Marcos Caperos, who has been a firefighter and EMT for 2 decades. "It's been hard having to keep up with that on top of everything else we take care of." So, hopefully they get this grant because I can't imagine having to deal with that day after day. And look, people are human. We don't wanna see this happen regardless of where you stand on this. But these, first line responders have to go home every day with these horrible images in their heads, and hopefully they will get some help, some, mental health, clergy. So, uh, I really hope that they get some help. In other news, don't be an absolute jackass. Mom loses uh, $820,000 injury claim after she was pictured tossing a Christmas tree. Yeah, if you're claiming to be, cripple, don't throw a Christmas tree. Her case was felled by a Christmas tree throwing competition. A mother has had her $820,000 insurance claim dismissed by a court in Ireland after a picture emerged of her winning a contest to see who could throw a Christmas tree the furthest. Camilla Grabeska, 36, had claimed that a car accident in 2017 left her with quote unquote debilitating pain, leaving her unable to lift heavy objects and keeping her in bed on bad days, according to disclosures made at Ireland's High Court and reported by the Irish Independent newspaper. The constant pain in her back, neck, and thoracic spine left her unable to lift groceries, do chores, or play with her two children. The newspaper reported the disclosures made to court sitting in Limerick as saying she sued RSA Insurance on the basis that she could not work for over 5 years, claiming for the past and future loss of earnings, which amounted to around $542,000 of her total claim, according to the Irish Independent. Her case became unstuck when a photo was published in the same newspaper almost a year after she had her accident that showed her winning a Christmas tree tossing contest. Wearing a yellow jacket, the picture taken in January 2018 shows her forcefully throwing the tree in the town of Innis in Western Ireland, where the championship based on the old lumberjack competition takes place. The winner is the person who throws it the longest distance. A second picture published on that day shows her smiling as she holds a mounted certificate declaring her the champion. When cross-examined in court, Grabeska said she felt pain when she threw the Christmas tree and was smiling in photos because she was trying to, quote, "live a normal life." Okay, sweetie, let me break this down to you. You have people like her who will claim that they have, excruciating pain from something or other, but they can throw crap all around with a smile on their face. And, extending if her thoracic spine and lumbar spine, cervical spine were all really bad, this particular pose would be excruciating. But no. Then you have people like me that, sit here and internally struggle with, "Hmm, should I even think about going on disability? Because I will not be able to, work for long periods of time. So you have people on the spectrum of her, a dingus, and me, prideful. So, okay, there you go. Thank you, Erin Olivia, for being a member for 2 months. Yay, a free chat. I always love free chats. Also, ma'am, if you wanted to go incognito, maybe not wear a bright bumblebee yellow jacket. Just throwing that out there. The judge, Carmel Stewart, who presided over the case, said she had no choice but to dismiss the claim because of the very graphic picture of Grabeska throwing the Christmas tree, which was at odds with the medical evidence provided. Quote, "I'm afraid I cannot but conclude that the claims were entirely exaggerated," she said. She also took into consideration footage from last November played to the court showing Grabeska play wrestling with a big Dalmatian dog for up to 1.5 hours. An entry on the Court's Services of Ireland says Grabeska's case was dismissed last week. It does not contain any further details of the case. Ma'am, you as atheist, you might have a point. It's it might be that she just never it was totally photoshopped. I've never seen the sun in Ireland. In interesting news, quote, "brought the judicial office into disrepute," end quote. Family Feud murder trial judge booted from bench for, quote, "utter disregard for the truth about, quote, unquote, bad faith reversal in grad party grape case." A judge was removed from office years after he found 18-year-old guilty of assault, reversed himself to keep the defendant from having to serve a mandatory prison sentence, and then, quote, "lied under oath on multiple occasions." When pressed about his reasoning, the Illinois Court Commission said, in a Friday filing, the commission determined that Judge Robert K. Adrian of the 8th Judicial Circuit in Adams County, quote, unquote, "thwarted the law when he refused to sentence uh, Drew Clinton to mandatory 4 years for assaulting a then 16-year-old Cameron Vaughn at a graduation party in May 2021. Law and Crime is naming Vaughn, now 18, because she has spoken publicly about the case and acknowledged double jeopardy issues with bringing Clinton back to court. Instead of sticking with Drew Clinton's guilty bench trial verdict for, quote, "committing an act of disgustingness," knowing that the victim was unable to give consent, Adrian decided to reverse the conviction, but only after considering post trial motions. While Adrian asserted that the reversal was done because he realized after the fact that prosecutors had failed to prove their case, the commission said that the judge's own words at sentencing undermined his story. Those words, the filing said, showed Adrian knew what the law required, and he misapplied it in any way because he didn't want to send Clinton, whom he called a young man, to prison. Snake Island for both of them. Quote, "The court has considered the motion. Court has considered the arguments of counsel and written motions themselves. The court is required to do justice. This court is required to do justice by the public. It is required to do justice by me, and it is required to do justice by God. Sir, do not invoke God's name when you're going to get someone off for a crime. You're going to kind of get, struck by lightning." It's a mandatory sentence to the Department of Corrections. This happened when this teenager, because he was and is a teenager, was 2 weeks past 18 years old. So he didn't know to keep his hands to himself? For the love of all that is Cheetos. He has no prior record, none whatsoever. By law, the court is supposed to sentence this young man to the Department of Corrections. This court will not do that. That is not just. Oh, where should we send him? To Fiji? or to a blanket party of this chick's male relatives, because 'cause I'm kinda going there with Judge Dredd about this. There is no way what happened in this case that this teenager should go to the Department of Corrections. I will not do that. The court could find that the sentencing statute for this offense is unconstitutional as applied to this defendant, but that's not going to solve the problem because if the court does that, it will be reversed by the appellate court and Mr. Clinton will end up in the Department of Corrections. Adrian then took aim at the parents for allowing teenagers to drink alcohol and allowing co-eds and female people to swim in their underwear in their swimming pool. Sir, are you off your daggone rocker? The commission scolded Adrian, writing that he appeared to be saying he, quote, did not believe Clinton deserved to go to prison for assault because the female victim was voluntarily intoxicated and swam in her underwear. According to the commission, Adrian's reversal amounted to circumventing or thwarting of justice, but the misconduct only continued when he yelled at a prosecutor for liking a social media post and provided, quote, unbelievable, end quote, testimony to the Judicial Inquiry Board about his reasoning in the Clinton case. Maybe he thought this kid was related to the real Clintons, and he was like, I am not going to be Arkansas-sided. Allegedly. I think he's just a jackass, but that's me. The prosecutor, Adams County Joshua Jones, testified that the judge lashed out in court after his wife told him about the social media like of the post critical about the reversal. Quote, Mr. Jones, you may leave the courtroom. Mr. Jones, you may leave the courtroom. I don't get on social media, but my wife does, and she saw the thumbs up you gave to people attacking me. Oh my God, are you a 14-year-old girl? I can't be fair with you. Get out, Adrian was quoted saying. No, he was pissed off that he basically had, proven his case, and you were like, "Well, she shouldn't have been in her underpants, and the parents let him drink, so la-di-da, that is innocent to me." Though the judge later called to apologize, the commission found that Adrian's intemperate and unwarranted remarks toward Jones fell far short of what is expected of a judge. Quote, this misconduct was willful, prejudicial to the administration of justice, and brought the judicial office into disrepute, end quote, the filing said, also noting that Jones continued prosecuting cases before Adrian after the two patched things up. One of those cases was a jury trial that convicted quote unquote family feud murderer Tim Blefnick, who was sentenced to life in prison back in August for the home invasion slaying of his estranged wife, Becky Blefnick. In a small town, Quincy, Illinois connection, Tim Blefnick was represented by defense attorney Casey Schnack, the daughter of Drew Clinton's attorney, Andrew Schnack III, who testified as part of Robert Adrian's disciplinary matter. The commission found that Adrian's subterfuge, claiming that he reversed the conviction based on lack of evidence, rather than not wanting Clinton to serve years in prison, was willfully carried out with quote-unquote oh, Beliefnik, sorry. Look, people should all be named Smith, and then I wouldn't have any problems. But thank you, Atheist Dan. Was willfully carried out in quote unquote bad faith. Here we find that the respondent acted in bad faith and engaged in no, not George Clinton. So long story didn't read, or too long didn't read. This particular judge apparently oversaw a case involving two teenagers, an 18-year-old male and a 16-year-old female. The 16-year-old female alleged that there was an assault, and the judge, it was a bench trial, basically he said, "Look, I'm not gonna send this young man to prison, and, uh, well, y'all didn't prove stuff, and then he went on to have a giant hissy fit because the prosecution liked a Facebook post in which, the entire town was basically calling this judge a dingleberry. So, he also basically went on to lie about the criteria that he used lawful law-wise, uh, in order to, reverse this decision. Here we find that the respondent acted in bad faith and engaged in willful misconduct, conduct prejudicial to the administration of justice, and conduct that has brought the judicial office into disrepute when he intentionally circumvented the law by reversing his prior guilty finding. The filing continued, writing that there is, quote, clear and convincing evidence that Adrian gave untruthful testimony before the board under oath. The commission determined that the judge should be removed for, quote, flagrant pattern of misconduct. As such, intentional, dishonest, and extensive misconduct demonstrates the respondent's utter disregard for the truth, the judiciary, and our justice system. In response, Adrian reportedly called his removal, quote, a miscarriage of justice, claiming that he did what was right and has always told the truth about it. Oh, yeah, here, let me solo layout. So it says, you're my zombie. So it's brains and hearts. Fun.com has a lot of, Valentine's Day sweatshirts or sweaters. They're really nice. I mean, these are knitted, but I definitely got that because why not? It has brains on it. And thank you for liking my red glasses. They're one of my favorite pair of fake glasses. Yeah, I'm sure you've always told the truth, dingus. Oh, and things I am not putting in my Amazon account right now. Hostage tape has thousands of five-star reviews. Here's why. Because everyone secretly fantasized about putting tape over their husband's mouth? I mean, I don't know. Let's find out. If you have a TikTok account or like staying up to date on wellness trends, you've probably heard of mouth tape for snoring and its alleged benefits. Although it may sound weird, minimizing mouth breathing, at least while you sleep, may have some health perks, which is one of the reasons people are reaching for items like hostage tape before they go to bed. A favorite of struggling snorers and those who toss and turn throughout the night, the lightweight, easy to apply tape has a sturdy grip that won't shift while you doze. Y'all know I'm buying some of this for Mr. Mo. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Thousands of five-star reviews from folks who swear it's helped them sleep better, and the 30-piece pack is only $25. For those who are a fan of the neuroscientist and podcaster Andrew Huberman, you're probably familiar with the evil, which is mouth breathing. Huberman, known for his sleep cocktail, not very different from the Sleepy Girl mocktail, one our feature editors tried, as well as his morning routine, which includes taking a walk, drinking athletic greens, has spoken at length as why people should breathe through their nose and not their mouth. Well, I mean, the consent of one or two people. I mean, look, I would just not ask Sarah Boone to get a bunch of this because we're all gonna be done. According to the Cleveland Clinic, those who mouth breathe develop ailments such as sleep apnea or dental issues, including malocclusion. No wonder mouth taping has become so buzzy in the wellness sphere. Adding hostage tape to your nighttime routine may reduce snoring, improve the quality of sleep, and make you. Never mind. While there is not an abundance of studies on mouth taping, there have been a few. In one in 2022 published in Healthcare, researchers found those with mild sleep apnea experienced a significant reduction in symptoms when sleeping with adhesive tape. What makes hostage tape a favorite of ours and many others is that it's made from hypoallergenic fabric and is flexible, so you won't feel like you have something strapped to your face. Look, I don't I mean, look, I would buy it because it looks probably not, because as soon as you do, you know what happens is one of your nostrils will get plugged up like you're getting a freaking cold. Fry, could you chew your loud treats closer to the mic? No, just a little closer. Slinky, that's what I'm guessing. And or taking hostages. I don't know. Hostage tape has stellar reviews, with many praising it for improving their sleep, increasing their energy because of all the Z's. So pros, it's, hyperallergenic, CPAP friendly, and looks hilarious. Cons, it might not be ideal for those with nasal congestion. I mean, I shouldn't laugh at that. It's terrible. It's just terrible. And what the actual Walmart rapture is this? Oh, I'm so sorry, Nunya. I hope that getting it sooner, though, will help him not be in so much pain. I know that having a bad hip can be really, really painful. I don't know. Stanley Cup owners are charging $150 for pictures with the tumblers and selfies with Stanley trend. Okay, look, having been alive during the uh, Cabbage Patch, let's see, Power Rangers, and Furbies phenomenon, can we put this to rest? Y'all are acting insane with these cups, okay? Chill pills. Y'all need chill pills. FOMO, no mo. Fears of missing out on the cutthroat Stanley Cup craze can now be quenched. Well, for a small fee. Cunning Facebookers are now selling $150 non refundable selfies with their 40-ounce tumblers to thirsty fans who can't afford the smoking hot commodity, which can come with a price tag of upward of $300 via online resellers. No. Oh, Beanie Babies were terrible. You guys remember they used to have, like, trending which one, and if you got the Princess Diana one, and then I would always cut off the tag, and my mom would lose her ever living mind because now they're not collectibles anymore. I'm like, "They're toys." Apparently, 10-year-old me was also a cynic. Uh, we can't afford a $300 cup, so why not get the best next thing to it? A picture, wrote an unnamed photo peddler on social media per a Reddit post. Y'all, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that is just terrible, and we will keep you and Mr. Nunya in our thoughts because that's just awful. Also, you can't afford a $300 cup. Why are you gonna pay $150 for a damn picture of said cup? Does anyone is anyone questioning any of this? Okay, this is crazy. Yes, a picture of this stunning cup with free shipping. This is only a photo of the cup on 11 by 8 printer paper. You won't regret purchasing a photo of a beauty like this, continues the hawker. If anything's wrong with your purchase, please reach out. No refunds post purchase. The dumb is taking over. We're turning into idiocracy, and it's only a matter of time before we're spraying Gatorade on corn. I can't, y'all. On TikTok, a clip with over 8.2 million views showcased a Stanley Cup selfie deal via a woman from Calgary, Canada, who's asking for $5 in exchange for photo shoots with her pink portable. You are welcome. Well, I know more now than I ever did before how chronic pain can really suck the ever living snot out of you. So I don't want anyone to go through this. So hopefully he'll get some relief soon and you guys can work on getting better and, you know, going out and enjoying things without pain, which would be awesome. Snapshot sales of the coveted cup have recently become all the rage amongst taste making Gen Zers online. I have a feeling Mr. Mo's going to say about the same thing with me in 30 years. Oh, for the love of all that is holy. Poor Mr. Mo. You guys, I mean, again, these Stanley Cups don't have any curse words on them. I don't understand the appeal, but I'm not the target demographic, I guess, because I'm not 13 with moms who wanna spend more money than sense. I don't know. Perfect disclosure, though, my middle daughter does have a Stanley Cup, but she used her own Christmas money to buy it, and I had nothing to do with it. New Zealand begins sentencing those involved in White Island volcanic eruption. Now, having not read this story, did they put dynamite in the volcano? I am confused. Sentencing for the tour booking agents and manager of an island in New Zealand where a volcanic eruption killed 22 people, mostly tourists, in 2019 began Monday. Oh, okay. So, again, why are you going to an active volcano island? I mean, I know some people like to live dangerously. I don't like to leave my house. You know, different strokes for different folks. And good evening, AC's Wildflower. Uh, began Monday with the prosecutor warning that those sentenced may not be able to pay a fine. There were 47 people on White Island, also known by the Maori name of Wakari, when the volcano erupted on December 9th, 2019. Many of the survivors were badly burned by searing gas and ash. Most of the victims were tourists from countries including Australia, the US, and Malaysia. Tour operators White Island Tours, Volcanic Air Safaris, Canoe New Zealand, and Arius are along with the owner and operator of the island, Wakari Management Limited, are being sentenced on at least one criminal charge related to insufficiently ensuring the safety of workers and visitors to the island. Each charge carries a maximum fine of $1,500,000 of New Zealand cash, which is about, let's see, $924,750. Christy McDonald, prosecutor for workplace regulator WorkSafe, said those sentenced had indicated they do not have the ability to pay a fine, but argued the judge should impose appropriate financial penalties even if they were not paid. Quote, "The hurt that was caused was unmeasurable," McDonald said in her opening statement. "There was a catastrophic loss of life." White Island, a active volcano, lies about 50 kilometers offshore from the town of Wakatani on the east coast of the North Island and had been a popular tourist destination prior to the eruption. Tourists are no longer able to visit the island. Victims and their families, several of whom have traveled from overseas, will read statements about the impact of the eruption on their lives before the judge hands down sentences and required reparation payments after this week or next week. McDonald said that White Island tours had about $5 million in New Zealand bucks, and Volcanic Air had $300,000 in New Zealand bucks available for reparation payments through the insurance they had. Other entities did not have funds available to pay reparations. Government funded Research Institute geological nuclear scientists will be sentenced later in the week for its failure to ensure the health and safety of helicopter pilots transporting scientists to the island. The charge is unrelated to the events on the day of the eruption. Good lord. I mean, I don't know how to feel about this one. If you're being told as a tourist, "Hey, this is an active volcano island," and you still make the choice to go, is it really the tour company's, my bad? I don't know. I don't know. I can understand the victim's family wants someone to pay for something. It just I don't know. And those are all the stories this evening. I thought I had ended on a good story, but apparently I did not, because usually I go funny story, bad story, funny story, bad story. Slinky, I don't think it was known that the volcano would erupt that particular day, but this is only from Reuters. I can try to look into if there had been signs that it was going to erupt, but it seems like the government-funded research institute still couldn't keep people safe, so I don't know. So I feel like s it's a half a dozen of one, six of the other kind of thing. I feel like, look, let's say you wanna go bungee jumping and you see Florida man's bungee jumping. Now, those of us who are kind of cautious are gonna say, "This man has mirrored glasses, a mullet, and a Pabst Blue Ribbon, and he has, a spit can next to him. Do I wanna make sure do I trust this guy to maybe keep up on all safety regulations, or am I gonna go to, anally retentive bungee jumping where we test the things all the time?" I don't know. So, there you are. I am sending you all over to Shizzy's. I will be over there. I think we are going to look at, Zach's interview tonight, which will be interesting because it seems like the police are policing now. So, who knows? Maybe they become real detectives. Like you know, every time they sentence a guy without any evidence, a cop brings its wings in Kenosha. I don't know. Never gonna be able to go to Kenosha. Anyhoozle, have a great night, and I will see you over at Shizzy's. I'm going to take Fry out for the last time before I meet you guys over there. So I will see you in a little bit. Bye, guys.